Good afternoon, all you beautiful people. I am your host, Doodleman149, and welcome back to the latest in my long line of viewer variance videos. Just in case you've been living under a rock and haven't heard of my globally successful series, in this video series I take a look at weapon builds suggested by you, the viewers, and test them out in Core Domination, Ground War, and Warzone. My ratings chart is on your screen now. This is the rough framework for how I look at builds. Pause the video if you need to get a better look. We seem to have yet another suggestion from the Greek guy himself, TZAV Gaming. In this class, which he calls the Israeli Boomstick, we have a Ram-7 build paired with an M19. Unfortunately, this M19 is an exact copy of the Commoner from CTKLZ Wavy's video. Check that video out in the description below. Despite that, I will not be subtracting points for a copy-paste build. Now, before I get into this, if this isn't your first rodeo and you like this style of video, how about consider subscribing to keep up to date with all my newest uploads? If you're new, however, watch this video all the way through, then decide if I'm worthy of your like and subscription. I hope I can earn it. Now, without further delay, let's get into the gunplay. For his Ram-7 build, TZAV has developed what he calls the TAR-21, a callback to my favorite Modern Warfare 2 weapon. This build starts out with the TAC laser for boosted ADS speed and stability. The Cronin 2x2 Elite Optic is next for a 4x zoom without a scope glint. The rubberized grip tape is then applied for boosted recoil control at the cost of aiming stability. 50-round magazines are equipped for a 66% increase in ammo at the cost of mobility. And lastly, we have the Commando foregrip for aiming and recoil stabilization while giving up movement speed. TZAV's M19 build, which he calls the P320, starts off in the muzzle section with the monolithic suppressor for boosted range and sound suppression. The 5mW laser is employed for a huge hipfire accuracy and sprint out speed boost. The Akimbo perk is used to literally double our damage output while forcing us to hipfire only. 32-round magazines are equipped to maximize our ammo capacity, and the lightweight trigger greatly boosts our rate of fire while harming our aiming stability. Specific perks and equipment have been requested, so I will cover them here. For perk 1, we have EOD for increased survivability against non-explosive kill streaks. High Alert is perk 2, and this allows you to be notified when an off-screen enemy can see you. Battle Hardened is perk 3 and reduces the effectiveness of hostile tactical grenades. Our tactical is a smoke grenade and our lethal is a frag. If there was anything on this Ram-7 build that was going to worry me, it was going to be the Cronin 2x2 Elite Optic. I thought the 4x zoom would be way too hard to handle when it came to recoil, and I thought it would destroy the build's ADS speed. However, when paired with the TAC laser, the ADS speed still seems to be faster than its base. Rubberized grip tape and the Commando foregrip do their duty as a great balance of recoil mitigation, and the 50-round magazines means that if you miss sometimes, it won't always be a loss. I think this TAR-21 was surprisingly fantastic. Up close, the 4x optic may not be the best, but then that's why you have the P320s, otherwise known as the Commoner from the video I mentioned before. This is a max ammo, super spammy Akimbo M19 build that works very well in basically every close range situation. If your TAR is out of ammo or if an enemy gets too close, the twin P320s will more than easily clean up those enemies. EOD is a solid perk 1 choice because of the prevalence of hidden explosives in the game. High Alert was an interesting choice, but it certainly saved my hide at least a handful of times. Other than that, it's very helpful to know that when your battle line is being flanked before everyone dies. Battle Hardened is a perk I frequently neglect, but when you have it, those tactical grenades are almost a non-issue after that. Smoke grenades seem like an odd choice for this class, but it certainly helps me confuse my enemies and distract them. The classic frag is a solid choice, especially if cooked properly. For Core Domination, TZAV's Israeli Boomstick class gets itself a 9 out of 10. I thought this build was great in Ground War. The Ram itself is already a stellar weapon, so giving this a snappy long-range build with plenty of ammo made it the perfect choice for Ground War. I was able to fairly easily fight people at longer ranges while also being quick enough to fight enemies up close as well. But of course, if things get too hectic or danger close, or if I just predicted I'd need them, I could always whip out the P320s and go to town on anyone nearby. The plentiful ammo, high rate of fire, and relatively accurate hipfire of these M19s worked great in basically every situation I used them in, not just on ladders. EOD worked pretty well for trying not to die to IAVs and APCs, while High Alert remains my favorite Ground War perk. I rarely felt like I was getting flanked without me knowing it. Battle Hardened didn't seem to come into play even once, which is disappointing because I just love to drain the steam from someone's ego by taking a stun and then quickly turning in them and killing them anyway. The smoke grenades were a great option for pushing open objectives since it obscured my location, and the frag grenade was as solid as ever. For Ground War, this TAR-21 and P320 class earns itself a 9 out of 10 yet again. Since I had gotten into making this video during the period where Plunder was no longer part of Warzone, I had to resort to using this class in Clash, where it did surprisingly well. The introduction of armor did little to hurt the TDK of the build. The only times I did feel this class was lacking was at longer ranges, where 1 or 2 bullets meant the difference between a kill and an escaped enemy. On those few occasions, I had wished I was running the Ranger barrel. The P320s were great again, as they were really good at chewing through armored enemies with their fast rate of fire and solid hip fire. I even had a ridiculous fight where I ended up firing all 32 bullets at a guy from a ladder with plenty of hit markers before I had to dismount and reload before trying again. It was really funny and kinda stupid at the same time, and this clip is probably around here somewhere. I don't think I actively used my smoke grenades, so I can't comment on their effectiveness other than I never felt like I needed to use them. The frag was great for bouncing around corners to kill campers with Cali sticks. And so this Ram-7 and M19 combo racks up an 8 out of 10 for Warzone and Plunder. This was an exciting class for me to use. The Ram-7 had not yet been suggested, and seeing as it's one of my favorite weapons, I was really looking forward to this class. Despite the continued TZAV brand of akimbo pistols, which are admittedly excellent, I had a great time using this class. I was concerned about the high zoom optic when used up close, but this build worked great in every game mode. Domination was good since the TAR-21 took care of medium-ranged foes, and when I was uncomfortably close to the enemy, the P320s came out and easily cleaned them up. The frag let me toss it across the map to explode right on target on objectives. The unique scope worked really well for ground war as well, since ranges are generally longer and the TTK of the Ram-7 is great as it is, so enemy squads were pretty easily wiped. Smoke was useful here for avoiding vehicles and pushing open objectives. EOD was also a great counter to enemy vehicles, and High Alert is just a great perk choice for this mode in general. Battle Hardened would have worked on this class well, but I was rarely getting hit with tacticals while testing this, so that was a bit of a letdown. That was completely out of my control, of course. Warzone was the only arena where I saw some limitations with this build, and that was mostly due to recoil control and the higher health that enemies had. Sometimes I destroyed people, and then at longer ranges some people would elude me because I need just one more hit to end them. This was an overall great class to use. So for a final rating, TZAV's Israeli Boomstick class gets itself a solid 9 out of 10. So if you guys have a maxed out Ram-7 and are looking for a different style of build that is actually great and not complete crap, I'd really recommend trying out this TAR-21 build. It's snappy, very mobile, great visual engagement range, and has plenty of ammo. The P320s, despite being a carbon copy of a previous viewer variant, are still excellent. They shredded up close, were very useful on ladders, and were fast enough to make crossing open spaces or pushing enemies very easy. Again, in case you guys missed it before, I am ending the viewer variant series here very soon. If you have any suggestions, unfortunately I won't be doing them, so I apologize if you missed out. So what did you all think of TZAV's latest suggestion? Do you think it's great, like I do, or is my head in the clouds? Let me know in the comments below. I really appreciate all your time, and I am honored that you've all deemed me worthy to occupy at least some of it. I've been your host, Doodleman149, you've all been awesome, and until next time, I will see you later.